Welcome, amazing women all around the world. I am here to share how you can tap into a non-stop pleasure, aka what I call the pleasure bank. So say hello if you're watching, hashtag replay if you're catching this after we are live. And this is a concept that I am super passionate about. It comes from and stems from really great research called the polyvagal theory from Stephen Porges. And that essentially is looking at how we regulate ourselves and where we move into maybe parts of our life where we feel a bit more pain and where we can move into being into more pleasure, right? And when we're in more pleasure, that's what he calls the social engagement system. And that system is where we feel open, connected, loving, really well regulated inside of ourselves. So, as a women's sexuality coach with a absolute mission to bring more pleasure into the world, into women. And I just want to clarify that by pleasure, I mean sexual pleasure, and I really mean non sexual pleasure as well. So I started life coaching, I specialize in sexuality, but I really blend the two. And the reason for that is that sexuality isn't something that can just get isolated and put into a box, right? It's not just about sex, it's about how you interact in all of life. And you probably know that how you feel towards your partner is really has a big impact on how intimate you are. So it's not like we can just talk about what happens in the bedroom and exclude everything else that happens leading up to that or outside of that. So, how you feel towards your partner, how you feel towards your body, how you feel towards yourself, the environment that you're in, how safe you feel, your past experiences, all of these have a really big impact on how much sexual pleasure you feel. And when you are able to um, bring more of just general pleasure into your life, then it makes all pleasure in all areas of life amazing. So it can up your intimacy, connection with yourself and your partner, but it also ups up how connected you feel to the wider world, right? How connected you feel to your friends and family, how excited you are to go for what you want in life, how confident you feel, how blissful you feel in your own body. So even if you're single and you're not with a partner, then that's amazing too, because pleasure is for you, right? Pleasure is for every woman, every person actually who wants to bring this more into their life. And we, by default, have a negativity bias. So by default, we're looking for things that are not um, are not working, or are not serving us well. And so we're going to start to switch that around and really bring the positive bias in so that you can feel safe and nurtured and bringing more pleasure into your life. So the pleasure bank. The pleasure bank is kind of works like a normal bank in a way, right? So you have this pleasure bank, and a pleasure bank is just very simply the place inside of you that allows you to feel good. Okay, the place inside of you that allows you to feel good. So if you want to be in non-stop pleasure, you can hang out in the pleasure bank. Like if life's going really, really well for you, then keep celebrating pleasure. Okay, keep letting it know, keep normalizing it, keep letting yourself know that it's okay and that you get to feel pleasure. And if you want to increase your pleasure bank, right, which is increasing your capacity to feel more pleasure, then you need to make deposits into your pleasure bank. So just like you would make a deposit into a normal bank, you can make deposits into your pleasure bank, right? And so when you make a deposit, that can look like self-care. That can look like when you feel really safe with your partner, or when you do a self pleasure practice. But even outside of that, just in terms of everyday life, it can be pausing and really enjoying your coffee. It can be taking a break and resting, taking the pressure off yourself. It can be going for a walk outside and tapping into nature. It can be being creative, singing a song, dancing, all of these things that bring pleasure into your life. Each one of those is a pleasure deposit into the pleasure bank. Okay, so when you're feeling happy and great in life, then awesome, right? You're probably putting more and more deposits into the pleasure bank. You're living in the pleasure bank, like life's feeling pretty good. then always life happens to us, and there are things that will pull us out of the pleasure bank, right? Out of the pleasure zone. And that's stress, that's environment, that's politics, that's a fight with your partner, that's financial stress, it's all of it, right? And so that's really normal, okay? That's totally fine. It's really normal in life to kind of go on a bit of a roller coaster. But what we're not wanting is to like have major roller coasters, right? Of feeling completely overwhelmed into depression, to then feeling anxious, and then sort of missing this opportunity to hang out in the pleasure bank. So, so then building up a great pleasure bank, right? By doing all those things that help you feel good is one way, okay, to help you bring yourself back into pleasure when you're feeling not so good or you're feeling dysregulated. So the bigger your pleasure bank, right, the more you trust that you have a pleasure bank, the more that you trust you can bring yourself back into pleasure, the more you have experiences of being in pleasure, the safer it feels for you to be in pleasure, the easier it is for you to bring yourself back into pleasure when you are feeling dysregulated, sad, upset, lonely, whatever it is, right? If your pleasure bank is really small and you haven't put any deposits into that, then when life throws you a curveball, you don't have this big resource to go to. It's like you might want to go to the bank and go, okay, cool, I need some pleasure right now, like I need some money, but the bank would be empty. Okay, and that's not going to help you out. So you want this to be like lush and full, just like you want your bank account to be really lush and full. You want your pleasure bank to be really full. And then you can go back into it and tap into it as a resource, right? And the more that you do that and the more that you repeat that over and over again, then it starts to build a core belief system. And a core belief system is what you deeply, deeply believe and what you refer to, especially when stress or pressure is on. So if in stress or pressure, then you find yourself with a core belief of, oh, I'm never going to get out of this. This is like, I deserve this. This is what life is sending to me. Like, it's too hard to get out of this. Like, this is pointless. I feel overwhelmed. Like, it's all too much. Then that is going to be the core belief system that you revert to. Now, if you have a core belief system of, okay, I'm going to get through this. I know that I can bring myself back to pleasure. I know what serves me. This is what I call pleasure resources. I have resources, pleasure resources around me that I know that I can tap into, like going for a walk in nature or stroking my body or breathing or whatever it is that helps you bring yourself back into pleasure. Then you're able to do that over and over again, and then you reform this new core belief system. And in order to rewire this core belief, it's really difficult to do it when you're in that hard place, right? When you're feeling really stressed out. So you want to do it and work on it when you're feeling like pretty good or you're feeling neutral. So just like maybe you would be working in a job and you'd put 20% or 10% aside into your savings, like that's what you're doing. So as you go through life, you want to use these pleasure resources, right? And then bank that, okay? Bank that as a deposit into your pleasure bank. And then that's going to make it feel lush and good and juicy. And it's going to support you in times where it doesn't feel so good. So this is what I mean by tap into non-stop pleasure, right? It's not that life's ever just going to be cruising always in pleasure. That's unrealistic, and I think it would probably make life pretty boring. But what I'm talking about is celebrate when you're in pleasure. Okay, make sure you are making pleasure deposits into your pleasure bank when things are going really well, like put it aside for a rainy day. And then when you're not feeling so well, make sure you can tap into that pleasure bank, right? And be able to take out what you need, okay, or use it as a resource. And then in this way, it's like when you do go through hard times, it's like it's not as hard as what it can be, right? Like there is at least some little bit of pleasure in there, or you don't spiral all the way down into feeling terrible. And if you are interested in finding out how to build up more of a pleasure bank, right? Because we often self sabotage ourselves because it doesn't feel safe to be in pleasure. We have stories around what it means to be in pleasure. Um, so it can be hard to actually make those deposits. Like we might do these things, but it might not change the core belief. So if you're interested in working in a deeper level in that, that's what I go to with women. So it's dropping all the resistance away from being in a pleasure filled, mind blowing, amazing, incredible life and allowing yourself to receive that you're worthy of that you do have enough time to be in pleasure, that you are worth the investment and the space and the attention put onto yourself, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. So if you're interested in looking at how to change those core beliefs, that's what I do with women. That's what I love doing. That's why we go deeper in one-on-one coaching work, and also in how to bring yourself back into pleasure. Like that part there is also a bit of an art form, and having somebody to help you alongside that so you don't end up in big kind of negative spirals can really help you out too. So if you're looking to change a core belief, you're looking to stop having such big highs and lows in your life, um, or you're just wanting to really take your pleasure to the next level, like you could really just, pleasure is infinite. It's like love, it's infinite. You can always have more in your life. Then hit me up, send me a direct message, and I'll send you through some details or ask you a few questions. Yeah, ask me, how can I be in more pleasure? And I will be more than happy to help you out with that. So thanks for joining me today to help explain the concept of the pleasure bank, coming from really great research and a concept that really helped me out and really helps my clients out. Really essential if you don't want to be re-traumatized or end up in negative spaces in your life that you don't need to be and don't deserve to be either. Mwah!